Hello folks, Jorge D'Amico here on another episode of How to Scratch Build Realistic Wooden Pallets in 1/35 scale. Today's episode, although similar to the very first one I published, brings something different. I am going to share with you another wood pallet variation to be done in polystyrene, which I'm calling the Type 2. This second type is easier and faster to produce. And as I did on the first video, I will show you the steps to make it happen. At the end, I will share the link so you can download the instructions for free, with a guide, tools, and materials for you to follow along with this simple construction. I hope you enjoy today's show, and more importantly, that this can be useful to you for your next 135 project. So let's jump right into it. If you've been following my series of wood pallets in 1/35 scale, you already know that I've been putting a lot of effort into creating these pallets both in plastic and balsa wood. I hope that this process I've been sharing here can be useful to anyone looking for an idea to improve the quality and add more realism to their project. If you don't know what I'm talking about, take a look at the first 2 episodes of this series. The links are on the screen right now. In today's episode, I am sharing with you the Type 2 of the wood pallets I created. This one in polystyrene, or plastic as we say in our modeling world. Spoiler alert, on the next video I will go over the Type 2 using balsa wood, if you prefer that instead of using plastic. But for now, let's get back to today's episode. The construction of today's pallet is very similar to the Type 1, but simpler and faster because it requires a little less material. With the Type 2, you have 2 different styles of wood pallets to use on the scenes you create. Although they might look similar, in reality, they bring 2 separate aesthetics and can add a little bit more flavor to your project, enhancing its visual aspect, pleasing the viewers, and helping you with the storytelling. Here are a couple recommendations before you start. Review the instructions to get familiar with each step. Pre-cut, as I did, all the plastic strips. This will make your workflow to be way more efficient. Some time ago, while entertaining an idea for a 1991 Desert Storm diorama, I idealized having a few wood pallets in it. The problem I encountered was that I couldn't find wood pallets options in the aftermarket that would fit my needs. They were either not accurate in scale or didn't have the right dimensions compared to the ones more commonly seen in real life. I designed this process to help anyone wanting to add realistic and in-scale wood pallets to their models, dioramas, and vignettes. So my hope is that by solving my own wood pallet problems, it can also benefit others as well. Also, I wanted to share with anyone my process so I can learn how to improve and how to get better at it. Feel free to leave your thoughts on the comment sections below. Your feedback is very important as it helps me to continue creating and sharing knowledge like this. During the construction phase, it is important to make sure all the 90-degree angles are correct and that the plastic strips are flush on every corner. I recommend you to use a metal right angle ruler for that job. Additionally, you must give enough time to the plastic cement to cure while you glue every piece. A couple minutes in between each gluing step should be okay. The other reason why it is important that each piece is well glued in place is because of the wood texture creation step that comes after the assembly. For that task, we will have to add some brutal force while scraping the plastic with a razor saw blade. By the way, be very careful here. This tool is very sharp and I don't want you to hurt yourself. Make sure you create the wood texture on every exposed profile of the plastic strips. Don't forget the inner areas as well as the corners, thin sides, and parts underneath. Do it all over the place. I recommend you inspect every angle of the pallet just to make sure no areas were left untreated. This is a crucial step because it adds the realism you are looking for to your piece. The same idea applies to the metal brush. You will need to put some force in order to clean the plastic after all the fuzziness created with the razor saw blade. It also can hurt your fingertips and nails, so just be very careful. The final phase is the creation of the nail marks. Here I am using an old airbrush needle. In the past, I've tried sewing pins for this job, but they were inefficient and very hard to use. The airbrush needle makes this task a breeze. It's way faster and more precise. Make sure you spend some time checking all the areas where nails would go so you don't miss them. The last thing you want is to realize after your wood palette is painted that you forgot to add nail marks to certain connecting joints, right? This step is also very important because the nail marks give the final touch, adding the realism and taking your piece to the next level of detail. And by the way, similar to the other tools I mentioned, be very careful as these needles have a very tiny and sharp tip. And there you have it, the final result. Wood palette for your next 135 projects, now the Type 2. I had a lot of fun during this process, seeing all the layers of the palette coming together until the final result was ready. Even more now with the Type 2 available to you. I hope that this tutorial can inspire and help you to create your own wood palettes for your new builds. Let me know your comments or if you have any questions. You can find the link to download the PDF file for free, describing all the steps you saw me following on this episode in the description below. If you print the file, you can use the template as a guide as you build up all the layers of the palette. And if you like this video and would like to see me creating more content like this one, please give me a thumbs up and hit the subscribe button. And don't forget to click on the bell icon as well so you can keep up to date every time I post something new. Thank you for watching. We see each other on our next video. Ciao.